Imagine standing on a rain-soaked battlefield where one man's final gamble would decide the fate of Europe. This is Waterloo.
Napoleon had conquered most of Europe. Kings had fallen, empires had collapsed, and his victories made him a living legend.
But on June 18, 1815, everything changed. One battle would bring the greatest military empire of its time to an end. So why did Napoleon lose? Was it one fatal mistake? Or was history already turning against him? Morning arrived under dark clouds. The battlefield was soaked with mud as thousands of soldiers waited in complete silence. Standing above the battlefield, Napoleon knew this wasn't just another battle. It was his final chance to save an empire. Just months earlier, he had escaped Elba, returned to France, and reclaimed the throne without firing a single shot. His return shocked Europe. Britain, Prussia, Austria, and Russia united, determined to end his rule forever. Napoleon knew he had to attack first. Waiting meant France would soon be surrounded by enemy armies. His plan was simple: defeat the British and Prussians separately before they could fight together. At first, it almost worked. In March 1815, Napoleon escaped exile on Elba. Europe was shocked as the fallen emperor returned once again. As he marched toward Paris, soldiers sent to stop him joined his side. The legend of Napoleon was alive again. Within weeks, Napoleon sat on the French throne. But across Europe, powerful enemies were already preparing his downfall. 4 great powers gathered against him. Massive armies began moving toward France from every direction. Napoleon faced a brutal choice: attack now, or watch France become surrounded by his enemies. His strategy was classic Napoleon: strike fast, separate the enemy, and defeat them before they could unite. But nature changed everything. Heavy rain turned the battlefield into a sea of mud overnight. The storm forced Napoleon to delay his attack, waiting for the ground to become suitable for his artillery. His powerful cannons depended on dry ground, but the mud absorbed their force and reduced their deadly impact. Those lost hours gave the Allies something priceless: time. Time for their reinforcements to reach Waterloo. Facing Napoleon was the Duke of Wellington, a commander who chose the perfect ground to defend against the French attack. Hidden behind the ridge, Allied soldiers waited. Wave after wave of French attacks failed to break their strong defensive line. But far away, another army was approaching. Through the mud and forests, the Prussians were marching toward Waterloo. Suddenly, Napoleon faced 2 enemies instead of 1. His army was trapped between Wellington and the approaching Prussian forces. As evening arrived, Napoleon made his final move. He sent his legendary Imperial Guard into battle. The elite soldiers marched uphill through smoke and fire, carrying the hopes of the entire French army with them. Then, the impossible happened. The Imperial Guard was stopped, and for the first time, they began to retreat. Panic spread across the battlefield. The French army collapsed, and Napoleon's final empire was destroyed. Weeks later, Napoleon surrendered and was sent to St. Helena, far away from the empire he once ruled. Waterloo ended Napoleon's reign, but his story survived. Sometimes history remembers not only victories, but legendary falls.